Good morning, 7th grade. How are we doing? I hope that we're doing all right. We're in our next week of our videos and next week's classes. We're still talking more about ratios and rates, which are still very much the same thing as our constant proportionality. Okay, so this video is going to be all about finding equivalent ratios, basically from tables and using given quantities. So without further ado, let's get to the video.
All right, seventh grade, we're going to be talking about finding equivalent ratios given the total quantity. We're still going to be using our ideas of this constant proportionality, which is the same thing as a rate, which is the same thing as a ratio or a rate of change. All of these are synonyms that we can use. So let's go into our first and our only in-depth example. A group of 6 hikers are preparing for a 1 week trip. All the group's supplies will be carried by the hikers in backpacks. The leader decides that each hiker will carry a backpack that is the same fraction of weight to all the other hikers' weights. So I'm going to highlight that. That seems super important. Each hiker will carry a backpack that is the same fraction of weight to all other hikers' weights. Okay. This means that the heaviest hiker would carry the heaviest load. The table below shows the weight of each hiker and weight of the backpack. Complete the table. Find the missing amounts of weight by applying the same value of the ratio as the first 2 rows. Now, it's also important for us to remember that there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to find my ratio, my constant of proportionality. So I'm going to label things. So this is going to be my x value, and these are going to be my y values. So again, I'm going to do y over x. And it's probably important that I change some of these ounces into fractions. So I know that this is the same thing right here as 152 and 4 over 16, or 1/4. 14 pounds, 8 ounces is the same thing as 14 and 1/2. And I'm just going to go ahead and change everything here. So this is going to be 107. 10 divided by 16, when that gets reduced, goes down to 5/8. 10 and 4 ounces, 10 pounds and a fourth pound, or a fourth, 10 pounds, or 10 and a fourth pounds. Sorry, difficulty this morning. This is going to be 129 and 15/16. And this is going to be 68 and 1/4 pounds. Let's go ahead and change these. This is going to be 12 divided by 16 comes out to be 3/4. And then we're just going to leave 10 pounds as it is. Okay, so we are trying to fill in all of the missing blanks here. So it's important for me to try to find what my ratio or my rate is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the very first row in order to help me out. So it's backpack's weight is proportional to the hiker's weight. So I'm going to do 14 and a half divided by 152 and 1/4. So 14 and 1/2 divided by 152 and 1/4. So it's important for me to try to change these to be improper fractions instead of mixed numbers. So I do 14 times 2 plus 1 will give me my new numerator. So this is going to be 29 halves over 152 times 4 plus 1 is actually going to be 609 over 4. But I'm dividing by a fraction in this case, okay? Which means that I need to end up multiplying by my reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 4 over 609 times 4 over 609. After I multiply by the reciprocal, my denominator goes away, and I'm really left with 29 over 2 times 4 over 609. The 4 and the 2, because they're both divisible by 2, they actually can be reduced. That 2 becomes a 1 and the 4 becomes a 2. So then this is really 29 times 2 over 609, which ends up becoming 58 over 609. But let's reduce that. That ultimately reduces to be 2 over 21. So I know that the value of the ratio of backpack weight to hiker weight is 2/21. I'm going to go ahead and use that to try to write an equation really quick. So I'm going to say that B is backpack weight and H is hiker weight. And this is all in pounds. So I'm going to write my equation. The backpack weight equals 2 over 21, my rate 2/21 times the hiker weight. So I'm going to use this to try to help me figure out some of these examples. Okay. So going back, I know to get the total weight, I just have to add these weights together. So to get my total weight for my first row, I add 152 and 1/4 plus 14 and a half, and I end up getting 166 and 3/4. Again, it's important for me to remember that I need to have a like denominator, a common denominator, in order to add fractions. And I can go ahead and do the same thing in the second row just because I have all my information filled out. So I do 107 and 5/8 plus 10 and 1/4, and I ultimately get 117 and 7/8. And now this is when I need to start using my equation to help me. So going to rewrite it one more time. The backpack's weight is 2/21 times the hiker weight. So I'm looking to see, I have 129 and 15/16 as my hiker weight. So this first one is going to be the backpack weight equals 2 over 21 times my hiker weight, which is 129 and 15/16. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this because, again, we just need to remember that it would be helpful to make 129 and 15/16 into an improper fraction, which means I would need to do 129 times 16 and then add 15 to that, and that would be my new numerator. And then multiplying fractions is multiplying across the top and across the bottom. After I do that, I would end up getting 12 and 3/8 as my backpack weight. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in there, 12 and 3/8. And to get my total weight, I do 129 and 15/16 plus 12 and 3/8, and I end up getting 142 and 5/16. I need to do the same thing for the next weight, 68 pounds, 4 ounces, or 68 and 1/4. So this is B equals 2 over 21 times 68 and 1/4. Flash forwarding again, that is going to be equal to, after I reduce and make it a mixed number, 6.5 pounds for the backpack weight. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in there, 6.5. So 68 and 1/4 plus 6.5, that ultimately comes out to be 74 and 3/4 pounds. Now things are a little different for this next example because I know my backpack weight, but I don't know my hiker weight. And this is what we talked about in one of our last classes as well that we had during our synchronous time. So I know that the backpack weight for this next example is 8 and 3/4. 8 and 3/4 pounds equals 2 over 21 times my hiker weight. So what I need to do is I need to divide by 2 over 21 on both sides, which is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So I'm going to move this over a little bit so I can write that. So this is end up being multiplied by 21 over 2. And again, I'm going to flash forward through all of this work. Actually, I'm going to show you this work this time. I'm going to take this, copy it all, copy, and we're going to add a slide and paste that in there so we can show it. Paste. I'm going to change 8 3/4 into an improper fraction. So I have 21 halves times 8 times 4 is 32, plus 3 is 35, so 35 over 4 equals h. And after I end up doing all this work, this comes out to be, after I do all this work and make it into a mixed number again, this is going to come out to be 91 7/8. Pounds is the weight of the hiker, so I'm going to put that in here, 91 7/8. So now I need to add 91 7/8 plus 8 3/4. That is going to go ahead and give me 105/8 pounds. Who would have thought we'd be able to do this much by just figuring out what our initial rate is and using that to write an equation? And then we have one more example here, so I'm going to put this one more time. So I have the backpack weight equals 2 over 21 times the hiker weight. And I know in this last example, it's 10 pounds equals the hiker weight, or equals the backpack weight. So I need to divide by 2 over 21st, or 2 21st on both sides, which is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal, which is 21 over 2. So this is the same thing as 210 over 2 equals the hiker weight, but 210 divided by 2 is 105 pounds. So I know that I can just write that in the slot, 105 pounds. 105 pounds plus 10 pounds is 115 pounds. Okay. Now this is a lot of work, and let's go to our summary page. Our summary, to find missing quantities in a ratio table where a total is given, determine the unit rate. That's what we did at the very beginning. That was like we were finding our constant of proportionality. Okay, same process. From the ratio of two given quantities and use it to find missing quantities in each equivalent ratio. You will most likely have to write an equation and use that equation in order to help you, and that's okay. All right, so we know how to write equations for these proportional relationships or these kinds of relationships, and we also know how to find that constant or proportionality or ratio or rate. Again, those are all the same things. So we were able to use that in order to fill in missing pieces in a table. So that's the end of this video. If you have any questions, feel free to write a comment in the section down below, or feel free to message me on Schoology. Until next time, I hope that you have a great day.